Okay, thank you. We're going to get started with the invocation and pledge of allegiance and to recite the four-way test. Leading us in that will be Ron Denny. Ron is with Denny Realty Group, where their motto is, we are basically full-time psychologists who show houses every now and then. Ron is a past president and an 18-year Rotarian. Ron, would you please lead us in the invocation?
Happy to. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all that you do and continue to bless us, not only as individuals, but as a community and specifically Rotary. We want to thank you now for Rotary International and all that we've been able to accomplish as far as the eradication of polio. We pray that your hand will continue to be upon this and that we'll get eradication throughout the world very, very soon. We also want to give you thanks for our own Chief Riley and the recognition that he got this week. We just thank you for what he means to our community and his team and what they do for our community. And just we can't be more proud of him. Also want to pray a special blessing on our speaker today, that you'll just be with them and that we'll all be able to take something from it and apply not only to our lives, but our community as well. In your name, we pray things. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Now our four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right.
Ron, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure having you lead us in that. We certainly appreciate it. We'll move into Happy Dollars. Wait. Nope. Introduction of guests and visiting Rotarians. Trey, would you mind leading that?
Sure. Good afternoon. If we could have any guests or visiting Rotarians, please introduce themselves.
I have a guest, Irma Cole.
Welcome, Irma. Any other guests?
Trey Don Selvage. It's my pleasure to introduce as my guest today Ben Stevenson, who's the executive director of the Lakeland Housing Authority. He's been over there a number of years, and they have done great things. If you haven't been over to Lake Beulah lately, go over and see that. Ben came to us from Mulberry originally, but after school he spent over 24 years of local government experience in urban planning. He's nationally renowned and, in fact, was very involved in the Katrina efforts to rebuild. And so please join me in welcoming Ben Stevenson back from the Lakeland Housing Authority.
And welcome, Ben. Do we have any other guests?
Yeah, hi, I'm Doug McCall, visiting Rotarian from Wallasey in England.
Welcome, Doug. Anyone else? Okay, thank you, and welcome to everyone.
All right, thank you, Trey. Welcome, everyone. We're glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. At this point, then, we'll move into Happy Dollar. So if anybody has any Happy Dollar type announcements you want to make, please unmute yourself and let's hear from you. Pretty glum crowd today, huh?
Okay, President Joel, if you're going to make me do it. Very happy and very appreciative of my staff for taking the time and thinking enough of me to nominate me for the Fire Chief of the Year award for the Florida Fire Chiefs Association. And equally as appreciative of the Florida Fire Chiefs nomination selection committee for even considering me, let alone giving me the award. And I'm very appreciative of all the support that I've gotten from all of you. So I'm very humbled by that, and I'm very appreciative. So thank you.
Congratulations, Chief. That's quite an accomplishment. And I'll just say, speaking as an insider that works inside the city, what a pleasure it is to work with you and your group. You guys are the epitome of professionalism, and you always do a great job. So thank you for setting the standard for all of us.
Thank you.
Would anybody care to follow that one? Very good. Very good. We will move into announcements then. First, I'm happy to announce the board members that you all elected. These board members that I'm about to reveal to you will begin their journey in July of this year. And then so they'll be serving for 2 years, 2021 and 2023 for the Rotary years. And so without further ado, we have Matt Brown. Somehow Dr. Mike Loudon got in there, but he did. And we're proud of you, Mike. So good job. Rick Maxey and Melody Ryder. Congratulations to the four of you. You get to kick off your year working with Nate. God help us all.
I'd like to begin impeachment proceedings.
That's okay. It's going to take longer than it took Trump.
I accept.
Not you, me. Okay, so Scott Laron, would you like to give us an update on the Twilight 5K?
Sure. Thanks, Joel. Those of you who made the New Year's resolution to run the Rotary Twilight 5K this year, I've got some good news and bad news. The good news is you can stop training. The bad news is you can stop training. Unfortunately, we have decided that we are not going to host the Rotary Twilight 5K this year. We decided that with the COVID issues going on, that we would be better safe than sorry. So we are going to repurpose the event this year. Starting in February, we are going to host the Rotary Twilight 5K fundraiser. We feel like even though we can't have the 5K run, we still want to be able to contribute to the maintenance of the park. And so in lieu of the 5K run, we will be selling the 5K as a fundraiser. We will be selling the race shirts. We're still working out all the big issues, but in simple terms, we're going to sell the run shirts for about $15. I should have an image for everybody next week what they'll look like, but they'll be sky blue, similar to what Vince Jones is wearing right now. If y'all see Vince on your screen, for $15 you get a shirt, and then for $100 if you can be one of the sponsors and get your name or the name of your business on the back of that shirt. Again, we're still working through all the details of it, and we should have more information next week. But if you have any questions now, I'll certainly take them. Okay, that's it. Thanks, Joel.
Okay, thank you, Scott. I hope I look as good as Vince does when I get that shirt. Matt or Melody, would you like to give us an update on the Spring of Session?
Thanks, Joel. Yes. So Spring of Sessions will be on March 13th. We just want to let you know that Scott Reed, who's in charge of volunteers, will be making future announcements in the upcoming weeks, recruiting volunteers for this for our annual event, and we hope that we get a great turnout. Next, Melody.
Everyone, I just wanted to update all of you on pushing forward with the event. It was a lot of due diligence and a lot of talk how we wanted to work through this and make sure we are very COVID compliant. We are doing all stops to make sure that the event absolutely demonstrates that we stay in line with everything to keep everyone safe. We did have to make some changes, some very hard choices, how to make sure that we made that happen. And one choice is that we did not have room because we were spacing everything out 6 feet with the vendors for the band. A lot of due diligence on Gladys and Mike's part, and all of us looking at how we can make this happen. And so the band, unfortunately, wasn't going to be able to fit this year. So we were very sorry about that cancellation. We did provide them a cancellation fee out of good faith. We know they've been a long history with us, but unfortunately this year, due to COVID compliance, that's not gonna work. But again, we thank everybody for your support. There'll be lots more information about volunteering coming up, as Matt said. So we appreciate your support. It's gonna be a great event. Thank you.
All right, thank you both. I hope everybody can appreciate the amount of redos, do-overs, just changing our plans, all this kind of stuff for all the events that we're doing. You know, the Twilight 5K, they had to make a call, and this just happened very recently. So my sincere kudos go out to everybody that's participating on these teams and being able to adapt to the situation that we're in. So So Melody and Matt and that whole team, thank you all for staying with it. We're going to try to have this. We're going to try to forge ahead and keep it as safe as possible. Immediate past president Carol Wallace, would you like to give us an announcement on the past president's dinner, please?
You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you, Jack. Normally, we wouldn't be making this announcement to the whole club, but there's nothing normal about this year, is there? So I want to remind all of our past presidents and our board members that our past presidents dinner will be held this Thursday, January 28th. We had to change from an in-person format once again to the virtual format. So I have sent a couple of Zoom invitations, but I know it's easy to get those confused with the ones that are coming from Amanda or Beth. So I'm going to send out another reminder this afternoon. So just be looking for that. It is a different link from the ones you get for our regular meetings. So we'll start at 5:30 on the Zoom meeting. And then for those who are comfortable, join us at Lone Palm afterwards for a little celebration for our new President-elect. And we will have some drinks and dinner for those who are comfortable. So I hope you'll all join us, past presidents and board members. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Past President Carroll. Jack Loma, give us an update on your fellowship event.
Yes, sir. So we are going to be gathering again. Mark your calendars. February 18th, we're going to have a happy hour at the Joinery there on Lake Mirror. If you have not been to the Joinery, it's a really cool space. There are 7 different food vendors, all different types. So they've got a great bar there, so you can come have some drinks. If you want to stay and have dinner, there's plenty of seating indoors and outdoors. We're going to start about 5:15, 5:30. Don't need to make a reservation or anything. Just hope you can join us.
Great. Thank you, Jack. Thanks for keeping these things going, too. They're always a lot of fun, and the Joinery is a really, really neat place. So if you haven't been there, come just so you can go see what that's like. All right. Any other announcements that anybody would like to make?
Joel, I do have a quick announcement. This is Trey.
Okay, Trey.
We have a few extra golf shirts still available there. Y'all can see my picture. I'm holding them up. It's an Under Armour performance shirt with the Rotary logo on the front, Harold's logo on the side, if you can see that. But they're really nice shirts. And like I said, we've got a few left, and we are selling them for $35 a shirt. If anyone is interested, you can either contact me or Jack.
And,
Greg, can you hold that up again? I missed it. I was searching for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's a really nice polo shirt.
Yeah, it is nice and thick. And this is still going to be benefiting, the proceeds benefiting, I guess, the AED project, Trey?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's going to take us into our program. And I believe that's going to be introduced by Don Selvage. Don is the president of SHR Human Resources. He's still part-time on and off city commissioner, and for some reason, he's just not going to hang it up. Don is a 20-year Rotarian and a past president. So, Don, would you do the introduction, please?
Thank you, President Joel. I'm very pleased with this program today. As a kid growing up in Columbus, Ohio, the local police athletic league was known as where you went to learn how to box. Since that time, I've gotten to know more about PAL nationwide. And here in Lakeland, I've been a longtime supporter of this organization because of its efforts to affect the lives of kids throughout this community. And it's even more important today when our country is divided and we have people who grow up not trusting law enforcement. And PAL, if it does nothing else, it allows our police officers to be role models and positively affect the lives of youngsters. And so it's an organization that I encourage you to support. And I have the honor today of introducing Captain Steve Pacheco from the Lakeland Police Department, who is the president of the board of PAL. The captain's been a member of the Lakeland Police Department for 34 years. And if you want somebody who knows Lakeland, this is the man. He has served on the Uniform Patrol Division, the SWAT team, the Special Investigation Section. He's been a narcotics detective with the task force out of Tampa. He supervised drug detectives. He's been in charge of the field training program, the Internal Affairs Department, and most recently he was assigned by Chief Garcia to head the Community Services Division. And he's going to talk to us today about what LPD is doing with this wonderful organization. Captain graduated from St. Leo University with a Bachelor of Arts in Criminology, and he's planning to pursue his master's degree at the University of Louisville in Kentucky. So please welcome Captain Steve Pacheco.
Thank you, everybody. Before I share my screen with you on the PowerPoint that I have to go over with you today, I just want to tell you what an absolute pleasure it is for me to appear before you to give a presentation on PAL. Like Don said, I've had a lengthy career here, and it's been filled with a lot of assignments that I've thoroughly enjoyed. And this last one that I'm in right now, because I am in the drop program, I only have 3 years left, which will complete my 37 years of service with the Lakeland Police Department. But the position that I'm in now has given me the opportunity to be in charge of PAL. And it's been a delightful experience, and an experience that I've learned a lot about, not only about our city, but about the special people that are in our city with regards to the volunteers that help us with the PAL program. So I just want to say what a pleasure it is. And if you have questions at the end, please ask. Again, I've had a long career here, but a lot of questions I still have about PAL. I've actually learned a lot from Don, who was part of PAL in another city. So I will go over that. All right, I'm going to try to share the screen with you here. All right, can somebody tell me if that's displaying correctly?
You're good.
All righty. Okay, so learning a lot about PAL, like I told you, but PAL was actually founded in New York in 1914, and we started our PAL program here at the Lakeland Police Department in 1993. It is a not-for-profit 501c organization, a little bit different than most not-for-profit corporations, in that, you know, it's a cooperative venture between the actual Lakeland Police Athletic League Incorporated and the city of Lakeland. So we share the program, and I'm going to go over that just a little bit more as I share who's in charge of that. But we share the organization, and we share the supervision of that program between the board and the Lakeland Police Department personnel who are assigned to PAL. Our mission, again, like Don said, is basically to be a positive interaction between the youth in Lakeland and the Lakeland Police Department. We've seen quite an unusual year this last year, and needless to say, police community relations have been tested to the max. And you know, we're trying to rebuild some of that with some of those people in the community who may not, you know, think too kindly of the police department, and it's our job to change that perspective. And we're trying to do that through not only through what we do in each organization that we are part of, we also try to do it with every member of the police department, and PAL is an integral part of that endeavor. You see before you now the staff, and I am grateful to the city, and I am grateful to the vision of Chief Garcia and the administrative staff of the Lakeland Police Department that they have dedicated all of these employees that you see before you to the program, which is a great asset to the program, myself included. I am actually ultimately in charge of the program, but Lieutenant Sean Collins, and you see Sergeant Scott Weech pictured there. He's on the video call with us today. He is actually the leader of PAL right now, and every day he is in the program with the other coordinators that you see pictured here. Fred Lewis is actually the longest standing member of our PAL organization. He's been a program coordinator for the longest. Officer Wesley just joined us this last year. And you see LaShonda Luster's picture there. She's not pictured in orange because she actually just was hired as the civilian program coordinator, and she will begin her job with us on the 1st of February. Crystal Davis actually does double duty with us. She works for me. Another part of my assignment is being in charge of all of the school resource officers for the Lakeland Police Department. So Crystal Davis is actually assigned to my unit in the school resource unit, and she is our juvenile liaison person with the police department. With that comes a heavy responsibility because she works directly with the Polk County School Board with at-risk kids in the school program. So she handles our truancy and at-risk children in the school, and also takes part in the mental health part of the at-risk kids for the school program. So she also assists us with the PAL program, which is that tie-in with her job from the Polk County schools and working with at-risk youth is a definite benefit to us in the PAL program. This is our current board of directors for the PAL organization. Again, I am the sitting president now. I took over this last year when the PAL organization was transferred from the Parks and Recreation Department back to the Police Department. Pastor Eddie Lake, if you don't know Pastor Lake, he's the vice president, and Gian Monticelli is our secretary, and he is, I believe, the assistant principal at Mulberry High School. And again, you see Crystal Davis doing a third portion of her duties as our treasurer. And Pastor Cooper, many of you do not know who runs the Dream Center in Lakeland, and Detective Jamie Henderson. And I want to say just a couple words about Detective Henderson because he was assigned to the PAL organization as the PAL coordinator for approximately 8 years and brought the PAL organization light years ahead of where it was during his tenure there with the program. Captain Tarver is also a part, and Mr. Weiner, who is on our board, and of course, Mr. Selvage. And I want to thank Mr. Selvage as a part right now because he has been an integral part of our board of directors and been the driving force behind some of the things that we're trying to do with the PAL organization. Again, our goal with PAL, like Mr. Selvage said, is to provide programs to the youth and community, and we want them to be fun and inspiring, first off. But there's a lot more behind doing these programs than just being fun and the physical fitness part of that. Our job is to bring these youths, closer together with the athletic competition. But the big part of that is, number one, being safe. Again, this last year has been quite challenging. We had to cancel our football and our cheer program because of the COVID-19 virus. But we were able to do some other things that I'm going to highlight for you in just a minute. The biggest thing, and you see that bolded in that fourth line down, is our volunteers. We could not do all of these programs in PAL without the great volunteers, the citizen volunteers that we have in our community. The unique thing about the relationship that we have in working together with these volunteers and what we want them to know is that they are a representative of us as the Lakeland Police Department. And I put our core values down there: respect, integrity, teamwork, and excellence, because that is the framework that we operate by here at the Lakeland Police Department. Everything we do, we try to tie in these core values to every program, everybody that we touch. So we try to instill that in our PAL volunteers also. It is so important that not only the police officers and the civilian people that are working with PAL, the things that we are trying to instill in the youth of our community, but we want those values instilled by our volunteers also. And the last thing you see there is encouraging parent and guardian involvement. And again, and Dawn touched on this a little bit, but a lot of the youth that we work with come from broken homes, or they come from a home where there's no parent and they're being raised by their grandparents. And we have a lot of grandparents who walk in the door with 2-3 kids that they're raising, and they didn't even know at that point in their life that they were going to be raising these children. So not only do we have absent parents, but we also have grandparents who are finding it hard in their old age to instill values and ethics and the things that we look for into these children. So that's the important part of what the PAL sponsorships and the PAL community does with the volunteers and the representatives that work in PAL, the importance of what they do every day. Again, the benefits of that, of what we try to do every day for the youth, is instill these good habits, the sportsmanship, civic standards, and the values and ethics that they may not be getting at home. Every PAL program, we try to teach a lesson in everything that they're doing. I'm going to go over some of the programs that we have, but every program that we do, we try to take time out of every lesson and everything that we do to instill some social and leadership skills in the youth that are attending these programs. And that's important because as they grow and as they go forward in school, hopefully those leadership skills start to develop a little bit more, and they start to be revealed as they're going and getting a little bit older. Here you see pictured the programs that we now offer in the PAL organization. We have archery, fishing, football, cheerleading, mentoring, and a mobile outreach, which I'll touch on, and our summer academy. And I'm going to go through these one by one and kind of highlight each one of these. Our archery program is kind of new. It's just been implemented within PAL within the last year or so. And you can see that that's for 8 kids ages 7 to 17. We do charge for some of our programs. So it's a $50 charge, which is not much, which helps us buy equipment. And also we provide the kids with a shirt. And every time they do attend a program, we try to feed them also because, again, some of these kids are not getting meals at home. What we've seen with the archery program is really quite unique because it does take some skill to do the archery. And we've seen that with the children that are participating in this program, it does teach them a little bit of a growth mindset, and it helps them with their focus and especially their patience. Some of these kids have not been taught some things that require some patience and a little bit of self-motivation. And to do this and to master this program and this skill, we've seen that it's actually helped some of the kids that are in the program basically come out of their shell. And as they go forward and they get better at this art and combining their physical skill, their mental skills improve also. Our second program is our fishing program, and that's also for ages 7 to 17. It's $50 per season also. This has been a good program, which I did highlight archery, but some of the things, like I told you, we had to cancel our football and cheer program because of COVID-19, but we have been able to move forward even during COVID-19 with our fishing and archery program because we're able to a little bit, social distance and control the attendees for each of these programs. So with the fishing, I think the big thing with fishing program is that it being out in nature has helped. Kids are being locked up now in their households and not a lot to do, and fishing has given them the ability to get out in the nature and a little bit relax and maybe get away from the stressors at home that they see possibly their parents going through. Third is our football program, which is cheer and football have been the basic programs and the core programs of the PAL organization for a long time. You see with this program, and right now it's designated for about 148 kids to participate in this program. The things that we saw, with this program in the past is a lot of discipline instilled in the kids. We have a lot of dedicated coaches. There's 5 teams, and there's probably 5 or 6 coaches per team, and also a couple of team moms that participate per team. So the volunteers that it takes to put this program on is pretty extensive. And again, the discipline that's instilled in the kids, teamwork, and goal setting, we see that the benefits of this program are really, really extensive. But it does take a lot to put this program on. And the PAL football program has been very, very successful in the past. Along with that is our cheerleading program. Again, that's slated for about 148 kids to participate in that program. A little bit more expensive. The uniforms and equipment that the young ladies have to have for that is a little bit more expensive. But the benefits to this program for these children is pretty big too. What we don't realize sometimes, again, in saying that some of these kids don't come from two-parent homes and maybe being raised by a guardian or grandparents, what we see with some of the kids that do join the program is that they haven't been taught the life lessons that some of our children may have had the opportunity to take part in. And a lot of that is, especially for these young ladies, is body awareness. And in the past, in talking with Detective Henderson, one of the classes that they offered was put on by some of our female volunteers, and that was just to teach these young ladies about hygiene and their bodies and how to carry themselves and how to dress. And we probably take that for granted with some of our children, but these are some of the life lessons that some of these kids are not able to be taught at home, which some of the PAL programs are able to do. And the biggest thing with this too is being a positive role model. And that's some of the volunteers also have been able to instill that in some of these children. Our mentoring program has really taken off and has really been successful in the past too. There's no cost to the kids that join this program. And this one especially is guided by our police officers and our volunteers. Every time that these kids come and meet either at the PAL building or other locations, this is the opportunity where we try to concentrate on our good habits and our values and ethics. And every one of these sessions is filled with a lesson to be learned. Hopefully that they're getting leadership skills, and they have different things that they do in there. Even as contentious as the election was this year, we used that in the PAL program this time as a little bit of a learning experience for them to learn about the elections and to learn about what was going on. And even during some of the programs, they had some mock debates that they lined up and had child against child, and they picked sides that they actually gave them subjects to do mock debates on. So the other things that have been involved in this is that some of the programs have highlighted discipline and manners, and we've actually taught kids to cook and sit down at a table and set the table and what fork goes on what side and where the spoon goes, and things that they don't learn at home that they might be able to carry with them forward in life. Our mobile outreach program is our newest program, which we just launched this last December. This was the brainchild of Fred and OJ and Sergeant Beach. And what spearheaded this program was basically COVID-19. We saw that a lot of parents were very hesitant to come join programs that we had existing because of COVID-19. And what we saw was that we needed an opportunity to take PAL to the community. And we don't have this very often, but what we did was we gathered some equipment and bought some games, and we loaded a trailer, and we started going out into each segment of Lakeland and getting out at different parks, unloading and just giving kids the opportunity to show up with their parents and play in a safe environment. We adhered to all the COVID-19 guidelines that the city had and what the police department had. We try to keep the kids masked up as hard as that is. But it gave them the opportunity to come out to a local park where they were at with their parents and to get out and play. And we cooked hot dogs for the kids. And it basically gave some kids and some parents in different parts of the city who might not have known about the Police Athletic League and any of their programs an opportunity to show up and interact with our PAL volunteers and the staff and basically see what PAL's about in their own community. This program has been super successful, and I want to congratulate Scott and the other PAL coordinators, because we've actually picked up a lot of kids who have signed up for the archery program and fishing program and mentoring program just by going out in different parts of the community and actually asking and seeing if they want to join PAL and be a part of the programs. The Summer Academy is something that we do for 4 weeks in the summer. And this is a program that has been supported by different groups in the community, namely GiveWell and Publix Charities, and I'd like to thank them for sponsoring this program. But this is a 4-week program that we have used in PAL to, again, take time with kids to teach them important life skills. We spend a lot of time on communication, and there are college preparation courses that we do, and usually, until this last year, we've been able to take the group of kids and actually go to different colleges and do college tours, which gives them the opportunity to go see these colleges firsthand. This year we weren't able to do that because of COVID-19, but we did get somebody from a local college to come in and just do a little preparedness, how to fill out a college application and what to look for as you're preparing for college. So why PAL? We've covered some of that, but again, we know that there are a lot of children in our communities, and it's not, really one part of the community. There are kids all over our city in the city of Lakeland who are disadvantaged and who, again, come from broken homes. And we know that from our experience, especially in police, that gangs and other kids, this is a draw for them to basically be pulled into these gangs and a lifestyle that they may not choose otherwise. So it's really an opportunity for us as law enforcement, along with our volunteers that we have, to basically grab these kids and pull them away from these negative influences and environments that they may be pulled into otherwise. So that's really what PAL's about, is having the positive impact on these kids. When I was preparing this slide, I was thinking this last year of really, the goals and what we do in PAL, but defining moment in everybody's life, I think every one of us could really take a look at where we were when we were kids, and was there one opportunity that we stood at that fork in the road where we made the right decision to go the right way. And some of these kids don't have that. They don't have the experience. They don't have the ability and the life lessons that have been taught to them to actually say no when it counts. And that's what we're looking at in the PAL organization, is to hopefully get these kids in the door and have a positive influence on them, instill some core values in them to embolden them to make the right decisions when they're faced with this defining moment. I don't know when it's going to come for them. I don't know what age it's going to be for them. I guess each one of us could really take a look at where we were at in our lives when we were faced with this. What was your first tough challenge when somebody came to you and asked you to do the wrong thing? And today, that it really, peer pressure is a big thing. Bullying's a big thing. We deal with that a lot in our schools. So it's really hard for these children today to have the courage to say no when it counts. And that's what we're looking for in our staff. It's what we're looking for in our volunteers, is to work together to instill all of these positive attributes in these children so that they can say no when that time comes. Something new that we just did this last year was never before had we highlighted some of the great things that our PAL kids have been able to do. And you see here pictured 6 kids that graduated basically out of our PAL programs because of their age and their future endeavors in life. But I want to go through some of these, and you can see some of the great attributes and things that they've been able to do. But Miss Baldwin here went to George Jenkins, and she had a really high GPA, was involved in PAL as a cheerleader and our mentoring program, and also attended our summer camp and she's going to be attending Fort Valley State University here in the future. Aldeja Davis, again, high GPA, National Honor Society. She participated as a coach in training for our PAL cheerleading program, also part of our mentoring program, and part of the college preparedness class. And she'll be attending Barry University in the fall. Shamarian Ford graduated from George Jenkins, part of the PAL family since he was in 3rd grade. So long time participating, in each of our PAL programs. And he was very instrumental in being a part of our community outreach projects too. Destiny Goulet, again, member of PAL since the third grade, cheerleader, coach in training. She was a step team member. She also participated in our summer camp program, high GPA of 3.5. And she plans to go to community college for a couple of years and then move on to get her bachelor's degree, and has hopes to become a neurologist one day, which is a high aspiration. I wanted to highlight, as we were making this, some of the comments that they actually made and their parents made, and you can see that in the highlighted orange section, but it's important that we garnered what they wanted to say about their impact on PAL and what the impact PAL had on them. And that, I think that's important because they were able to use some of the things that they learned in PAL to, again, go on and hopefully be leaders in our community. Ms. Villiers graduated from Lake Gibson High School in the top 20% of her class. Again, you can see some of the attributes that she had. She was a captain of our varsity cheerleading team, involved in pretty much every PAL program I think there was. She also held the position of vice president in our youth mentoring program, and was awarded numerous scholarships. Ms. Villiers' mother is one of our staple volunteers and has been a volunteer with PAL for a number of years, helps with our mentoring program and pretty much every program that we do, and she's a definite asset to the PAL program. And Officer Andrea Smith. I definitely wanted to highlight her because one of the things that we talked about was the interaction between PAL youth and our officers with the Lakeland Police Department. Officer Smith has just joined us within the last couple of years and became a police officer and was a product of the PAL organization. And you can see her comments there. But in speaking with her, she credits what she learned in PAL, the core values that she learned, and the mentorship that she received from the PAL mentors and volunteers to where she is today. And really, she told me on the phone here recently that she doesn't believe that she would ever have been a police officer with the Lakeland Police Department if not for her involvement in PAL and what she was able to learn and as she went through the PAL programs. Again, what I told you in the beginning of the program about the unique position of PAL is that we are very, very lucky that the city of Lakeland sponsors the PAL program. But that doesn't cover everything with regards to what we do for all of our programs that we do. So one of the unique things too about PAL is that with all the kids that are involved, again, 148 football players, 148 cheerleaders, all of the different programs, the kids take an active part in the fundraising for PAL. So they want to go out and do that, and they like being involved in the fundraisers. So it helps instill in them that they're taking part in what they're doing and actually raising money for their own programs. The other thing that we get help with is funding from grants and individual and corporate sponsors. Again, the corporate donations we rely on to help us with our PAL programs, and also individual donations, and we have a lot of those that come into the program that help us with each program that we do. I'll take any questions, but again, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to highlight this program that the police department has. We were in a unique situation this last year when we took PAL back from the Parks and Recreation Department. Take a little bit of time here to a big shout out to Mr. Donahue and his staff from the Parks and Recreation Department who ran PAL for a number of years when we took it from them and and put it back under the police department, it was somewhat of an easy transition for us to transition everything from what Parks and Rec had done to continue the reputation of the Police Athletic League and to continue it as a staple program in our community. So I appreciate everybody's time, and I'll field any questions if anybody has any.
Okay. Captain, I've got some questions. There were a few that were in the chat box, and Sergeant Weech actually did a great job of answering them in the chat box, but if you don't mind, I'm going to repeat them for anybody
Awesome.
who isn't monitoring, is not looking at the chat box. So first is, what law enforcement agency provides school resource officers for schools that are outside of the Lakeland city limits?
The school resource officers are basically fall under the Office of Safe Schools, which is over at the Polk County Sheriff's Office. So every school that is under the Polk County Sheriff's Office jurisdiction, that is a middle school or a high school, is staffed with a school resource officer. In the other jurisdictions, such as Winter Haven, Auburndale, and those jurisdictions, if they have a middle school or a high school, those agencies will staff that with a school resource officer. Here at the Lakeland Police Department, we have, I believe it's 11 schools that we have. 9 of those are Polk County School Board schools that are middle schools and high schools that we staff with a school resource officer. And we also have some private schools that actually pay for a school resource officer. We have a couple of charter schools and Lakeland Christian School. And then I also have 3 college resource officers assigned to Florida Southern College. And they pay for those, they pay 100% of that salary for those 3 police officers at Florida Southern.
Okay, there were a couple of questions about the success stories that you shared. One is, do you plan to track those success story students through college and career so that you can give a report or have them report back to the community on the impact that PAL had on their lives? And also somebody who observed that 5 of the 6 success stories were girls and is wondering if there are unique challenges facing the young men that are in the program.
Well, first on the tracking, yes, we do plan to do that. We actually encourage them, if they can, to come back, and when they're free time and maybe during the summer, that they'll actually come back as volunteers and help us with volunteering in some of the programs, and some of them have already. But we are starting, this was the first time that we had actually highlighted and actually it was pretty neat because we actually invited them to the police department, and you saw the picture with their cap and gowns, but we actually had a little ceremony and gave them some gifts here at the police department to actually officially recognize them as PAL, graduates. So it was neat. It was the first time that had been done for them. So, but we hope to track them. And again, a lot of them, their parents are still volunteers with the PAL organization. So we have a direct link to check on their progress and keep them going. I don't think that that there is a big disparage on male-female involved in the programs. I think something that hurt us this last year again was COVID, and with our male participation, I think it's probably pretty even with regards to the programs that we're doing now with our archery, fishing, and our mentoring program. Again, when we have a good year that football and cheer is going, that program will be full, both of them. So we'll have 148 girls and 148 boys that are participating in both of those programs over and above the other programs that we have.
Okay, great. Captain Jeremy Maccabee from the Salvation Army would love to have you come out and speak at their shelter for the kids that are there. Do you do presentations or have some like a speaker's bureau that you could make available to him?
Sure, we can do that. And if I'm Sergeant Weech, who's also on this call, is going to be tasked, whether he knows it or not, in going out and actually doing some of these programs too. But we've had a year transition, in taking over the program and to getting it where we have it today. We had to rebuild the board and do some things, but it's been a building process for us. But yeah, we're always welcome to go out and talk about anything in our community.
Well, that's great. Other than those questions, there's just lots of love and appreciation for all that you're doing and the PAL program happening in the chat box. So I would encourage you to go take a look at everybody who's wishing you a lot of kind words, and I know that Sergeant Weech is looking at those as well. So thanks for the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for everybody's time. Appreciate seeing the friendly faces.
Well, hold on. President Joel's not going to let you off that easy.
Oh, all right.
Thank you, Amanda, for that lead in. Captain Pacheco, thank you so much for your commitment to excellence when it comes to the support for our youth in this area. We certainly do appreciate it, and this cannot happen without people like you doing it. And also for Sergeant Weech for coming to participate in this as well. I was really proud to see that, like any good cop, you brought backup with you. So good job on that.
Don't ever go anywhere without your wingman.
I've got this book that I'm going to get to you. I know where you work, so I will bring this over to you and make sure that you get it. It's a book full of blank pages that you can fill with your own words however you want to, but it's a token of our appreciation for you speaking to us today. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate Mr. Selvage kind of spearheading this and inviting us to talk today and being able to share what we're trying to do, for the kids in our community.
Great. Thank you so much. Trey, would you mind thanking our guests and visiting Rotarians, please?
Sure. I'd like to thank our visiting Rotarian, Doug McCall, and our guest today, Irma Cole and Ben Stevenson. Thank you all for coming and hope you come back.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for your attendance today. We had a pretty good crowd. Our weekly quote, never let the fear of striking out get in your way. That's a quote from Babe Ruth. Next week's program, it says online that it's a STARS class. I'm not sure about that. We'll get back to you on it, but please be ready to attend. We always have great programs in this club. So absent any protests to the contrary, Amanda, let's adjourn this meeting and let's call it adjourned. Everyone have a great week ahead. See you next Tuesday.